Again, good morning. Uh, we'll be discussing the paper 2 syllabus. But before that, I have received two comments which are very interesting. Most of you actually, you don't express yourselves comments on my video. But two of, one is Vikas Gowda and one is Akash Shakya. One of them has given a detailed list of shlokas from Manu Samriti, contradicting what I said. But I am sorry to say that there has been a lot of propaganda against Manu. So I must clarify this thing first before I talk about the syllabus. In one of the videos, I wish that if you watch my channel, Vaids, Nai Baat, Nai Shuruaat, I have made 7 videos on Manu. Manu and women, Manu and Shudras and all those things. The list which has been given to me is all going against the Shudras, what Manu has said. Manu has never said anything about Shudras. In the original Manu Samriti, there were 680 shlokas. And the Manu Samriti that is available in the market, it has 2694 or 95 shlokas. So if 680 and 2000 are added, all those obviously, these are interpolations. And these have been deliberately added, it becomes very clear. Because contradictions are there. See, for example, it is said that Manu talks about the atrocities that have to be committed against Shudras. But before that, let me tell you with respect to this. In chapter 10, there are I think 137 or 139 shlokas, but only 15 are genuine. So you imagine how much of corruption has been there into this book. So say Shudras, that it has been that blood should be entered to their nose if they listen to the Vedas and all those things. If any crime is committed, then the 3 Varnas, they escape because law is in their favor only. Manu clearly says that if a theft is committed, a Shudra must pay 8 times the cost of the object. And they stop here. Next shloka is, Vaishya should pay double of that, Kshatriya should pay double of that, and Brahmins doubles or 4 times or 8 times, whatever is there. Because higher the social status, greater has to be the punishment, greater must be the awareness about the rules. All these things actually, these were first written by T.T. Padwal, Tatya Padwal in 1861 and 65, 2 volumes, and published by Jyotiba Phule, the Jyotiba Phule that you respect the most. And everybody thereafter has been quoting Padwal only. All the social scientists, all the leftists, all the Islamists, everyone. And we have been fed the same thing. In our childhood also we have been listening to the same thing. Manu talks about a non-vegetarian. If he comes as a guest, he should be served this veg. If she comes as a guest, then this veg. If she comes and this non-veg, this. That kind of thing. In chapter 5, almost 20 shlokas are there, how to serve non-veg. And then there are 4 shlokas which are against it. Chapter 5, 51 shloka says that the one who goes for hunting, the one who brings the hunt, sells to the shopkeeper, who cuts into pieces and sells to the housemakers, who brings home, who cooks, who serves, who eats, all of them are criminals. So how can somebody who writes this can also favor non-vegetarianism? Manu never talks about Shudras because Shudra is not a social status. Dvijas are there, those who are learned, those who are educated, those who are not. Shudra means Shudra, an ordinary person. Anybody who is not educated And this social status of Varna, it was assigned by the Guru after the person finished his degree, Snatak once he became. So it was not by birth. And plenty of examples are there where a Brahmin son has become a Shudra and Shudra son has become Brahmin through education. So there has been a deliberate attempt, and this movement is there that you call Neo-Buddhist movement, absolutely anti-Hindu movement, that we have already seen so many of the Breaking India forces. And this one is coming very fast. This one is literally attracting Dalits in general. And I don't know, I just can communicate my views to you people and you can to the others if you want. But things are not going well. So these two people, Akash and Vikas, I wish that they read properly and the research I did. If they don't want to research, then there is a book Vishuddha Mano Samriti by Surendra Kumar. Earlier he wrote Mano Samriti, each and every shloka with translation, with explanation, with logic, why it is logical, why it is rational, why it is interpolated, everything he has talked about. I am convinced you are or you may not. That depends on you. But you have to do it. You can watch those videos on Vaids Nahi Baat Nahi Shuruaat, and you can, I wish you people comment so that I can respond. Most of my students, they don't, because they say tomorrow we have to become bureaucrat if the wrong message goes to the government. Do you think government is that much free to read your comments? It is only when you express, I realize that yes, you were genuinely interested. Start. But before we talk about the paper 2, I left some references to give to you in paper 1. In applications, of course, our material is there. For one, that applications in defense and equipment, all those things, that one topic you can read from P. Nath if you want. It is not there in our material. Rest of the thing is covered. P. Nath. Then genetics, actually, I was really fond of genetics and evolution. The books I have read, I doubt whether you have even heard about. Dobzhansky, you will read when we talk about evolution. There was a book by Eaton, Evolution. I don't want you people to read, I am just trying to impress you. Then I read a book by Dodson, Evolution again. And here only I found Dollo's rule, Koch rule, Gauss rule, which I told you you don't have to read, because these are the principles of evolutionary biology of late 19th century. Evolutionary biology rejected it in 20th century. And in anthropology, in your syllabus, these were introduced in 21st century. So outdated absolutely. But I read here only. And our pirated study material available on some sites, 4, 5, 6 years old material, there these laws are given. In my computer these are, but I don't want you to go through. Then you read, there are people in genetics who read book by Strickberger. But Strickberger, too voluminous. Another voluminous book is Cavalli Sforza and Bodmer. Then you have a very good book is there read by the people from agriculture. In Pusa they read genetics for agriculture or something like that, it is there. But for you people, study material is enough. Then, of course, I quote also D.F. Roberts and an introduction to medical genetics. We will be giving reference in talking about balance polymorphism there. So many others I won't forget. Then paper 2, the syllabus looks small, but it is not as small at least as it looks. You have to be more aware, you have to be more cautious while preparing paper 2. Paper 1 is technical, almost whole of it. And when the things are technical, from PNAS you have to read applications in kinanthropometry, what is that? Defense and other equipment. That sounds small, but except for the first one, first chapter is your archaeology. You have archaeology in paper 1 also, but one blunder they have made is they have also included here the fossil evidence from India. And ironically, they still have it and they call it Ramapithecus. When I was a student of BSc, we had changed it to Shivapithecus in 1995-96, and still they are continuing with Ramapithecus only. I did my MSc in 75. 75, 76. It's almost 50 years, more than 50 years when I started studying anthropology. So, when you understand archaeology in general or you understand Indian archaeology, the two are complementary. We emphasize on Indian anthropology because in UPSC also they emphasize on Indian anthropology. With respect to the books, of course, I have edited Bhattacharya's book, Professor Bhattacharya, D.K. Bhattacharya, and thereafter no book has appeared, so no way to recommend other than that. But I started in my BSc Burkitt's Old Stone Age. That is outdated. Actually, those days PL 480 grant was there, and whatever was available in dollars in US, here we used to get in rupees. A $10 book in US we would get here for 10 rupees. But now it is not the case. But incidentally, we have a lot many publications in India itself. I told you about Pivadista and prehistoric Europe that day. We had a book on Indian archaeology by Dikshit also, but I don't see it anymore. Then Sankalia's book, most of them are out of stock and outdated to a large extent. We will be talking about Sankalia in our discussion of archaeology. And of course, whatever new researches come, you get in your WhatsApp. Otherwise, those who don't have our membership, some of the researches they appear in Hindu everywhere. Hindu is available. In South, you have a Deccan Herald.
Telegram group.
Yeah, in our Telegram group also some of the researches you can have. Recently only we started our Telegram group. Deccan Herald from Karnataka, that's a good newspaper with respect to science researches, much more than any of the North Indian newspapers. They call them mainstream. Mainstream is there everywhere. Thereafter, whatever you have, other than the second is demographic profile of India, ethnic and linguistic elements in Indian population and their distribution. They have written the word ethnic. But when we say ethnic, that relates to physical appearance. You know, when you talk about ethnicity, what is ethnic? Characteristics on which individual groups can be identified. Ethnic group is based on language, culture, region, whatever it is. But when we use physical features, it becomes race. And race is an outdated topic we will talk about when we discuss. In Indian population, and outdated classifications are there, given by Guha and Risley and Hutton and Hudden and Sarkar and number of these. But they ask only about Risley and Guha's classification. And then you have Indian population factors influencing its structure and growth. Now, this Indian population you study here, you study in geography also, you study in economy also, in current affairs everywhere. But the question is generally asked when census is either about to come or it has already come. Generally they don't. But if they ask the question is not that simple just talking about Indian population. You have to talk about what theories are there, like demographic transition theory you should know about. And also regional variations in fertility, fecundity and migration. Population structure, it has these three basic things: fertility, fecundity and migration. So talking about India does not reflect the truth of India as a whole. In Tamil Nadu and Kerala, the fertility has gone below 1.6, and Delhi also. Whatever population is there because of migration it is. In UP and Bihar, it is again about 3 only, comparatively quite high. Bimaru states you know about. But Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, they have done quite well. So regional variation has also to be known. But they generally ask either the census is about to be there or it has already been released. Presently, there is no chance of having a census. What the problems are there if census is not there?
Sir, there will be no database for the government to allocate the resources accordingly.
So what?
So means the welfare schemes or the other measures that government.
You know, 1.7 crore people who were born after 2011 census, they cannot get benefits of public schemes because they cannot be listed anywhere. And otherwise also, by default, those who were not included in 2011, they also cannot be included. So almost 2 crore people, you can say, they cannot benefit because census is not there. Then rest of your paper 2, it is caste and tribe. But I am sorry to say, caste is alien to India, and the concept of tribe anthropology rejected at least 5 decades ago. But still we are continuing with that. Caste was introduced by the British. Term casta of Portuguese origin was first used by Spanish for their colonies, and in India it was introduced by the British in 1667 to identify the people living on the west coast of India. We never had it, and I have already talked about it when I talked about OBCs. But still we will continue with that. The reality I try to explore in that, the truth about caste. And in future, if anybody wants to comment, please read that book before you comment. So then you have the structure and nature of traditional Indian social system. Structure and nature of Indian social system. When you say Indian social system, then caste, varna, jati have to be integral to that. But they have been written separately in the 3.2 as a separate head, caste system in India. Varnashrama, Purushartha, Karma, Rena, Rebirth. If you are writing Varnashram, Purusharth, Karma and Rena, why should you write rebirth? Why not Punarjan? And all of them, they are complementary, they are correlated. Even if you don't write these things, if you write the nature of Indian social system, you have to discuss them. It's a different matter that we have to discuss only at the surface level. If we go deep, that will become a matter of philosophy. Say Punarjan, if you are doing everything as per rules, performing all your duties, dharma, perfectly well in all the 4 varnas, and using purusharthas at right time, right stage, you will get moksha. Otherwise, rebirth has to be there. This is simple. But if you go deep, if I tell you the philosophy of Shankaracharya, what he says punarapi janamam, punarapi maranam, punarapi jananim jathare shayanam, ye sansare khal visthare leela parihum payamurare. You won't understand anything, and neither your examiner understands. So these are the philosophical basis of life, and you are not supposed to know the philosophy behind that. That is the irony. Because they don't ask. It is not that it is not a part of it. P.N. Prabhu's book is there, Hindu Social Organization. Beautifully covers all these things. But we used to study, read that book when we were students. Now it is never recommended. It was published lately by Sage, but Sage has stopped publishing books in India only recently. Then you have caste system in India, structure and characteristics of Varna and caste, theories of origin of caste system. Now when you are talking about Varna, Ashrama, Purushartha, Karma, Rina, will you be talking beyond the structure and characteristics of Varna? You have different duties in different Varnas. So duties means dharma only. And one more thing, everybody says sabhi dharmo mein yahi kuch hota hai. No dharma is there, only one dharma is there. Dharma that you will read in religion. There are religions. I call Abrahamic religions only as the religion. Otherwise, dharma is derived from the Sanskrit based dhri with expansion dharma. Dharma represents obligations. You have, sun has the obligation. What is the duty of sun? To give you light, to give you energy. Similarly, dharma of a tree is to bear fruits, to give you shade. That way, dharma of man is humanity. It's not that Hindu, Muslim, Christian, all those, these are dharmas, they are not. In Google, you put what are the characteristics of dharma, they will give you a list of 10, and there is no ritualism in that. When you talk about religion, that talks about the supernatural and interaction of man with the supernaturals. That is not with the Sanatan Dharma. Dharma is only one. You call it Sanatan, you call it humanity. It is the same, because features are the same. You may differentiate. Then theories of origin of caste system. Old theories are there, monotonous, you cannot change. Whatever Marx said and whatever Durkheim said and others people said. Then by mistake we put dominant caste here. Dominant caste should have been with the concepts Sanskritization, Westernization and dominant caste. That will come later. Caste mobility. Caste mobility is again Sanskritization, Westernization, modernization. You may add secularization also if you want, but again that will come with the concepts only. Future of caste system. Who can tell the future? The constitution says you should have a casteless society. But who is striving for it? But you can argue in favor or against. You can tell how you can get rid of caste system, but you can never predict the future. And then again, tribe caste continuum also should not have been there, it should have been with the concepts. And next comes this social change concepts, indigenous and exogenous processes. It should have been endogenous and exogenous, if the two have to be related. Factors of change within and factors of change without. Of socio-cultural change in Indian society, Sanskritization, Westernization, modernization, interplay of little and great tradition. They have not included universalization and parochialization. But you cannot explain the two, their interaction and their application, without talking about universalization and parochialization, and we have to talk about them. So, dominant caste should have been here, Jati mobility should have been here, and then in the next sacred complex, nature man should have been here, nature man is there already. Tribe caste continuum should have been here. But what will you talk in terms of tribe caste continuum? I told you, caste is an alien terminology, we don't have it. Concept of tribe does not apply to us. Deliberately imposed by the West, and we are continuing. We do have scheduled tribes. Means, if you have been put into the category given to you by the Constitution. The President of India, as directed in Article 366(25), can declare any community or a part of it as tribe under Article 342(1), and such communities are known as scheduled tribes. Tribe is not there, but scheduled tribe has to be there because it is there in the Constitution. So when you say tribe caste continuum, in today's anthropology, the trend has been that instead of calling them as occupational groups or by birth or tribe, or we should preferably call all of them as communities. But because it is there in the syllabus, we will talk about, and also, of course, how to score. And then you have Panchayati Raj and social change. Actually, social change issues should have been together at one place. And Panchayati Raj is misplaced because you are talking about tribes. You are talking about the concepts of social change. Social, Panchayati Raj is a recent origin. Media and social change, you do not find it anywhere in any of the texts. Some research papers are there. There is an American book with the same name. But that talks about the social change in the United States, not in India. The next issue you have, impact of Buddhism, Jainism, Islam and Christianity of Indian society. This is more of a general studies kind of thing. You do study in ancient India and medieval India what is their impact. Because when they write impact of Buddhism, Jainism, Islam and Christianity, I told you Islam and Christianity, these are religions, Abrahamic religions. Buddhism, how you differentiate? Buddha never criticized Hinduism. Buddha never contradicted caste system. He only said that Kshatriyas are superior to Brahmins. All the Bodhisattvas, they have to be Brahmin or Kshatriya. So what has been taught to us by the Western historians and subsequently our historians on that basis, but whatever is there, it is there in history only, in general part. The next point is very important, very crucial, but it is never treated seriously. Emergence, growth and development in India, means anthropology in India. Anthropology started during British period, we know it, 100 years ago, 101 years ago you can say, maybe 103 years ago you can say. In 1920 started first in Kolkata. So initially there was a formative stage, then came constructive stage, then came analytical stage, and now it is what you call critical stage. Too factual in a way you can say, but the questions they ask, either they ask with respect mainly to post-independence, that we are studying in terms of social change in caste and tribe and impact of industrialization, urbanization and globalization and all those things, or you are asked about specific anthropologies. Specific anthropologies, like if you talk about the contemporaries, the latest one expired during COVID, Professor V.K. Srivastava was a friend also, very close friend rather, and he has written the foreword to the book that you read. Though it's too much, he has written, he has. When he wrote this foreword and sent it to me, I told him, भाई यार बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया, इसको थोड़ा मैं कट कर देता हूँ. कहता है मैंने सुबह 4 बजे उठ के 6 बजे तक मैंने टाइप किया है अपने हैंड से. अगर एक लाइन काटनी है तो पूरा फॉरवर्ड काट दो. It will go as it is. So the way it is there. Of course, most of you don't read it. Then n number of them are there. Most of them you will read also. Srinivas is there. LP Vidyarthi is there. D.N. Majumdar is there. S.C. Dubey is there. One way or the other, we will be reading them. Otherwise, If you talk about the directory of anthropologists, it contains more than 2000 names. How can you know about everyone? So only the most frequently asked ones which are there, 8 to 10 are there, that you have to prepare. Contribution of Indian anthropologists to tribal and caste studies. Obviously, we deal with tribes and caste only. What was the need to write here? And then Indian village. When we were talking about all those concepts, are we talking about any foreign village? When you talk about dominant caste, does it pertain to Delhi? It is Indian village only. But still, significance of village study in India, Indian village as a social system. Indian village as a social system would be your caste system, your Jajmani system. Traditional and changing patterns of settlements and inter-caste relations, agrarian relations in Indian villages. Here should have been there Panchayati Raj and social change. And then impact of globalization on Indian villages. In part, I find only in one book by Nazim Hasnan, Indian Society and Culture, his book is there. Social Framework of Agriculture, I think chapter 6 is there. That contains a major part of this section. Nowhere else it is there. Linguistic and religious minorities and their social, political and economic status, this is a very ambiguous part of the syllabus, I would say. Who are linguistic minorities? Look at the cleverness of the state. After 1961 census, they deleted all the languages that were spoken by less than 10,000 people. And they talk about linguistic minorities. Isn't it a satire on Indian society? They have not even identified and labeled. Even minority term they have not identified at the state level. Matter is there with the Supreme Court. As per UN, any community in a state less than 10% can be regarded as minority. My Muslim students who appear in UPSC interview, I always tell them, if they ask you are in minority, be proud. No, we are the second largest majority. We are not a minority. There is a difference between saying that I am a minority, I am one of the minorities, than saying I am the second largest majority. It makes a lot of difference. The rest of it you have tribal India. While you talk about the Indian social system, I told you Prabhu's book is there, but if people don't read it because it's a bit too philosophical from today's point of view. Srinivas' book is there one, Caste in Modern India and Other Essays. I want you people to read for two reasons. Firstly, it is a part of your syllabus, but more important is that when we talk about India, you people think you are Indians. Most of you are not. We divide India into India and rural India. The fact is, India till date is basically rural. So we should divide India into India and urban India. You people don't belong to India, you belong to urban India. So this book gives you a glimpse of India. M.N. Srinivas, Caste in Modern India and Other Essays. An alternative can be Social Change in Modern India, again by M.N. Srinivas. So till the time you have time, you can go through them. When you start writing answers, you may not have much time to write. Then another many books are there on caste. I think I have more than 50 with me. You have a book by Ghure, Caste and Race in India. I have used a lot in my book. You have Andre Bete, Caste, Class and Power, and so on. You don't have to read them. Then you have a tribal India, tribal situation in India, biogenetic variability. When they are talking about India, they are talking about ethnic elements, only morphological. And here they are talking about biogenetic, means biological as well as genetic. And only one source is there, Anthropological Survey of India. They had Peoples of India project and they had their observations which are there a part of your study material. I don't think anywhere it has been dealt other than this. Of course, because Akshat, he liberally used our material and class notes. Maybe it is there, but nowhere else I doubt.